Hey, what's up everybody? So today we're checking out the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered running on the ROG Z1 Extreme. I'll be showing you what kind of performance and gameplay I'm experiencing and what to expect with the handheld, along with what settings I'm using in order to get those results. Before I continue, I just want to go ahead and mention that I did receive a code for Xbox PC Game Pass from Xbox. Now I am playing the Windows version of this game, so unfortunately I do not have access to ROG Ally's built-in upscaling features like the Super Resolution or the FSR to Armory Crate. I haven't had a chance to test it on Steam yet, but if you did or you know someone who did, let me know in the comments section down below if the built-in upscaling does work with that version. With that out of the way, let's get to the settings itself. So you're going to go ahead and press start, scroll over to the right side to where you see system, and then from there you're going to scroll over to where it shows graphics. From here I have it set to full screen, 1280 by 720. 1080p does not work too great. Resolution scale I have set to 89 or 90. VSync is off, frame rate limit is uncapped, show FPS and VRAM are off. Brightness intensity is up to you. I have it set to default as well as the FOV for first person and third person. Motion blur and screen space reflections were off by default. I leave that off as well. And then for the graphics, I have it set to low, medium, low, low. Texture quality is on medium, reflection quality is low, post-processing low, hair quality medium, and then cloth quality could either be low or medium. Doesn't really make too much of a difference that I noticed. And then everything else is off. Anti-aliasing, upscaling, all that I have turned off. I've noticed that it just gives weird ghosting effects with these advanced settings. I didn't really see too much of a benefit to using them, so I have that all turned off. Now as for the built-in settings with the ROG Ally, I'm going to go ahead and pop that open. I'm running 15-watt performance mode. You could bump this up if you want to, but this works perfectly fine. And then for resolution and refresh rate, 720 and 120 hertz will work perfectly fine. For some reason my capture card does default it to 1080 and 60 hertz, and then as I mentioned before, those other built-in Armory Crate features do not work with Windows games. You can go ahead and test that if you're playing this on Steam, and let me know in the comment section down below if those work for you. And when it comes to the gameplay and performance of the remastered on the ROG Ally Z1 Extreme, it is playable. I'm noticing a roughly a 30 FPS average, but however, it's just not the best way to play this game. If you happen to have a console or a better PC at home, I recommend playing it on that over this. If you happen to just have a handheld and that be your only way to experience this game, then it is good enough. It's just not the best way to play it. As you see here, going from one section of the map to the other, there are major stutters and my frame rate does drop to about 20 FPS. Now I'm not sure if this is just the game caching and it's just loading in a new area, but I do notice that when going back to the area I just came from, it doesn't really give that performance issues all too much, and then the FPS just go back up to around that 30 FPS on average. Now the ROG Ally does experience a few hiccups here and there, but performance is at its best during a one-on-one combat like what you're seeing here. However, I do want to mention that if you notice any screen tearing within the footage, don't worry, that's actually not the game or the handheld itself. That's just my capture card acting up, so I apologize for that. But as for gameplay goes, I didn't experience any real issues while fighting enemies. It felt smooth and responsive. The FPS counter does show that it's dipping into low to mid 20s at times, but honestly it doesn't feel like that at all. It still feels like it's closer to 30 FPS in actual gameplay, which is not a lot, but it's still smooth enough to play. You also have to keep in mind that I'm still running this at 15-watt performance mode, so if you're looking for an even better experience or more performance, you could definitely bump that up. Now I did find it hilarious that enemies randomly just came out of nowhere to help me and back me up while fighting him. It caught me off guard, to be honest, but overall the game held up well. I didn't notice any stutters or issues while fighting multiple enemies either, and in this clip gives you a pretty good idea of what to expect. Now for the last thing that I do want to mention, if you happen to be plugged in and you could just give this as much power as possible, if you look at the grass, it is popping in as I move along. This is going to be your render draw distance. You're going to notice trees and items, rocks, bushes, things like that pop up out of nowhere. In order to fix this or to just overall get rid of it, you're going to want to increase your draw distance. So I currently had it set to low or medium. If you go into the settings and you bump this up to high or ultra, it's going to overall get rid of that. So just go ahead, bump that all the way up to ultra, but you may want to drop down your resolution scale if you're noticing that FPS is not working out for you. I'm going to show you what it looks like with the resolution set all the way up, 30-watt turbo set at the TDP, and then that render draw distance set all the way up to ultra as well. So if you go ahead and set the resolution scale all the way up to 100, just keep in mind that each tick is changing in real time, which is why this takes forever to actually go up. So if you happen to notice that it is stuttering when you're changing resolution scale, it happens to be for that reason. Now, of course, we are getting that stuttering because we're going from one place to another, and the game just has to load in new assets once again. But once it does smooth out, everything's loaded in, you are still getting around that same upper 20 to 30 FPS average, and that draw distance is now maxed out. You no longer have that grass and the rocks, the bushes and things like that popping in, and this is probably going to be the best way to experience this game. Obviously, you have to be plugged in and playing at 30-watt turbo in order to do this, because the 15-watt performance mode is just not enough. If you happen to have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. This was just a quick rundown and performance and gameplay testing of the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered. If you happen to have any requests, concerns, or opinions, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more videos like this, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Damn rats, always skirting around in the shadows.
I thought mud crabs more fearsome than you.
Stop! You then pay with your. I fought mud crabs more fearsome than you. I'm just warming up, you pathetic worm!